Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Marina NanoValid meeting.
A new generation of safe nanotechnology will be the key to a sustainable global economic growth and societal acceptance of the manufacturing and application of engineered nanomaterials. Nanosafety must be central and provide guidance instead of opposing the development of nanotechnology. NanoValid and Marina, two European flagship initiatives of nanosafety, started in 2011 and have been officially finalized with a big dissemination event in September 2015 at the OECD Conference Center in Paris. This unique and outstanding event successfully demonstrated how both projects have paved the way during the last 4 years towards a better understanding of the true nature of engineered nanomaterials. A tremendous amount of new exciting results was presented and discussed by leading European and international experts and relevant stakeholders. The overwhelming data produced on hazard and exposure will shed a new light on processes and factors that have to be taken into account when assessing and managing the risk associated with handling, use and occurrence of materials at the nanoscale.
Marina is all about managing risk of nanomaterials, and one of the key aspects that Marina created is the concern-driven risk approach.
Yes, now we have actually not really reference materials but what we call representative materials that are able to set a kind of benchmarks to be used for the researchers to develop their method and their measures.
Through this multi-tiered approach, we were also then able to do a hazard ranking of the nanomaterials. And so a conclusion from all this work is that one cannot and should not use only a single cell line or a single endpoint. It is better to have a whole battery of tests combined hopefully in an intelligent way in order to come up with more robust conclusions.
So we help NanoRec by giving them the material which they will shape into useful tools that will be absorbed into the procedure of the OECD, and that is the global impact of Marina and NanoValid.
No, the plan is already there. So we have the regulatory research projects which are going to scrutinize, analyze all the results of Marina and NanoValid, but also other projects, and they will see what is specifically relevant and merits to be further developed in a regulatory perspective, and then further validate the method and produce the data to have a strong base of data to do then other approaches for risk assessment.
One of the objectives of Marina and NanoValid was to provide results to ongoing European projects such as NanoRec, aiming to answer regulatory questions. We know today that the biological behavior of nanomaterials in terms of hazard and exposure is determined by metrics such as particle size, shape or surface, rather than mass concentration. The problem is that the applicability of our current methods for sampling, characterization and biological testing often does not match nanomaterials. For this reason, existing approaches for a scientifically sound risk assessment are still hampered by obvious method and data uncertainties and a lack of standardization. One major outcome of the project was the establishment of an extensive method and material database, including validated standard operation procedures and a panel of well-defined prototypes of nanomaterials for material testing. New SOPs were developed to test new endpoints, such as cytotoxicity, inflammation or oxidative stress, and a standardized test battery was established for rapid biological screening or profiling of unknown nanomaterials.
I do not know any group which have taken so many round robins or interlab comparison conducted in such large scales, where for everything we had to do interlab comparison studies. So in that matter, I think NanoValid has done a beautiful job in understanding the variability concept which occurs when it comes to ecotox studies or nanotox studies.
So the outcome is also that standardized does not really mean to fix the duration of a test and some other some other environmental conditions, but also to be able to modify them according to the sample or according to the nanoparticles tested. So this is actually the outcome. We change a little bit perception of what actually means standard test or what actually means recommended or validated test. So this is a sort of outcome.
We are on a good track with some proposals. We submitted them to national standardization bodies. They are in discussion there, and I hope we will, within the next half year or at latest in 1 year, we will have some new work item proposals on ISO and on ZEN levels, and that would be a quite good result for NanoValid, I guess.
All protocols that have been tested and utilized within the NanoValid and Marina projects and have been modified and improved during the last years are now available for wider use by the scientific community and by all industries developing nanomaterials or applications that require nanomaterials. They then can utilize these protocols, methods and approaches to prepare the necessary regulatory dossiers to get approval for their products.
Methods with much more challenging nanomaterials. So for example, nanomaterials that have multiple components or that are embedded in products or formulated into more complex systems. So then seeing, do those methods work for products essentially? So nanomaterials aren't generally used just as the material, they're used in products. So from a scientific point of view, that's probably the next step, to develop our methods so that we can detect and quantify and study nanomaterials in their more complex product environments.
The industry needs it because all modern industry now gets insurance, but the insurance, they cannot give you any contract unless they know what they're talking about and how much is that risk. So in other words, it forms the basis for a number of industrial operations that we find it every day in our lives, but that goes for a new technology. So this is really the crucial thing they deliver.
Nanosafety research is one of our biggest challenges to develop new, feasible and sustainable principles of safety by design is always based on international cooperation and exchange. Thus, research activities in Marina and NanoValid were related to international partnerships with countries outside the European Union. Uncommon and common approaches to nanosafety aspects from all over the world have to be taken into account to evaluate, scrutinize and prove different experiences and results. Strategies from United States, India, Brazil, China and Canada in this way supported the transfer of research aspects in both directions, towards the European Union and vice versa.
I would like to mention the human resources involved in this project. It is high-level institutes and universities from whole Europe and also collaborators from Japan, from China, from Brazil, from Russia, involved in NanoValid and Marina, and also high-level equipment worked for last 4 years, giving real good, excellent results in terms of research in safety field.
Besides the prioritized objectives in the research consortia, the outcome of all efforts that have been put into Marina and NanoValid has generated a large amount of knowledge that could not have been foreseen. First of all, several new questions and challenges have arisen for the future that need to be solved in further steps. Another side effect, apart from the envisioned goals that have been already mentioned before, are training effects for the scientific community. Researchers have worked with high-level equipment and together with partners from the industry and SME manufacturers, they have developed new technology for better measurements which are more precise and applicable under new conditions. Regarding the dissemination of the results to external stakeholders like industry and the wider public, once more there have been difficulties in communication to bring scientific results not only to scientists and to regulatory bodies, but also to application and awareness in daily life.
We would like to communicate, of course, with them, and I'm sure they also need this type of a knowledge, but sometimes, we just use same words but don't think the same thing. So we actually need a sort of a training, perhaps from one completely independent, or just we have to somehow sit together and just invent a way how to proceed together or more closely as it was done before.
The case studies in the projects, on the one hand, have made visible the gaps between lab and the real world. On the other hand, they have generated a lot of applicable knowledge as well as concepts for further research design to improve manufacturing and handling processes of engineered nanomaterials.
One of the first things that have to be done now is further and with more detail look at case studies in here. And there have been some case studies within Marina, but that's obviously also in the last phase of the project. But a really thorough look at applying all the information of specific cases and getting that through the risk assessment strategy is something for the near future.
With Marina and NanoValid, a big step for nano-safety research and the objective to reach safety by design in the future has been taken. Nevertheless, to spread the collected knowledge into society, new groups beyond the scientific community, such as the general public, media and the younger generation, have to be more deeply involved into the subject, as they should grow up with awareness for technology that determines our life.
How do you get them interested thinking about it when they choose a subject to study in university? That needs to be done in schools, so I think future projects should involve organizations like the European SchoolNet, European Association of Secondary Schools, where you can reach out to the students and also to the teachers. That may be a challenge for the future, to reach out to the public. One of the purposes of an EU project is to reach out to different stakeholders, and schools would be among the most important.